I'd like to make a video on Rambam, the importance of Maimonides, of Abu Imran ibn Abdullah. But the difficulty is knowing which audience to speak to. The Jewish audience that doesn't know anything about it, the Jewish audience that think they know a lot about it, and those are two very different audiences. The English-speaking audience of people of the world who would be interested, whether for religious reasons or historical reasons or philosophical reasons, or specifically the people of Egypt who I'm speaking to right now. Because I'm in Egypt, and I am de facto, simply by matter of fact, the Chief Rabbi of Egypt, which is quite astonishing. I wrote an article about how, I won't get sidetracked, but it's quite astonishing how the people who ought to be representing the Jews in Egypt and other places, you know, the people who are diplomatic, who are involved in diplomacy, they're not doing any of that. They're just meeting other leaders and living in their own bubble. So my job as Chief Rabbi is, for very few Jews, I have a video, they wouldn't even meet me. Well, they weren't available, so not entirely their fault, but they didn't get back to me by email or phone. So, but we're speaking to Egyptians right now about Rambam. See, Rambam was the most important person to know. If you want to understand Judaism, well, if you want to understand Jews, that's a separate thing. And I've talked a lot about Jews. I've talked a lot about the situation in Israel and all the rest. That's a whole separate thing. And I'm not going to have to do it every single time. If somebody's interested, then in more in that stuff than in this, please check my other videos and my other Substack articles. That's ydydY.substack.com. ydydY.substack.com. But this is not about that. This is about Rambam, because Kabbalah is real. Kabbalah means that which is received. But what people think Kabbalah is today is a whole different thing. What people think Kabbalah is today, I'm not even going to address. But there is actually a receipt, an understanding of Judaism that traces its back to the time of the Bible's first acceptance, publication, existence, however you would put it. And I'm steering clear right now here about the strong sentiments that some religious people of all kinds will have, that literally Moses heard it all on Sinai, or that it's all nonsense, some ancient nonsense not worth looking at. I don't want to get into hot button subjects that will get people distracted, because we're talking about Rambam. He lived 800 years ago here in Egypt, and he is the person who best explicated everything about Judaism from the Bible. So therefore, like when people make presumptions about Jews based on the Quran, or based on the New Testament, which is the Injil, the Christian Bible, or based on their guesses, or based on internet rumors, they're really missing the point on two fronts. A, they're misunderstanding Judaism. B, they're misunderstanding Jews. And again, what I have to tell you about Rambam, it does not necessarily relate to Jews. So again, if your interest is Jews, I got a lot here. I'm talking about Judaism. And I myself am in a direct line of Kabbalah, a direct line of receipt, where one person put their hand on the head of, one great rabbi put his hand on the head of someone else until it was passed along, including these secrets about Rambam. These important secrets about Rambam, about what he meant, what he said, what he believed, and how to truly understand Torah. And that's something that I'd be interested in talking to people about. Without, like I said, if it can't be done philosophically, if it needs to be done emotionally, then you're looking for the other videos, not for this one. I'm going to let this be as it is, and write in the comments who you are. I'll address the people that are actually listening. If you're Egyptian, great, please make a comment, let me know. But whoever you are, if you're listening and you're interested to know about Rambam, please leave a comment and let me know, so I know who I would be speaking to. The Jewish Bible is canonized in theory into 3 books: the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. But there's a 4th book. According to Rambam, there is a 4th book. And we have to talk about it, although it's a secondary. It's not exact. But then again, the whole thing is a degrading. In other words, the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, are its own thing. You look at the prophets and the writings from the perspective of Jews, those are, as you know, holy, 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 but they don't have anything to say to the Torah. They cannot correct the Torah. They cannot add or take away or anything like that. And in the next section of holiness, beyond those 3 that we have, is a 4th section, which is called Morim. Morim means guides or teachers. And the Morim, therefore, instead of Tanakh, the word is Tenachem. Tenachem, that which comforts, that which leads, that which, if you give it the correct, honest, true, open-hearted, open-minded perspective, will help guide you as a human and humanity as a whole. The final section, the 4th section, Tenachem, Morim, which means the teachers or the guides, those that are within the last 2,400 years, right? Everything else is like at least 2,250 years ago is everything else. We need something a little more modern. You have Rambam, his 2 magnum opuses, one called the Moreh Nevochim, the Guide for the Perplexed, the other one called the Mishneh Torah, the Secondary Torah, and a couple of his letters, which are a few short letters of his. And you also have Guide for the Bedeviled, written in 1943, published in 1944 in English, written in English, by the top Hollywood writer of all time. You haven't heard of him because he tried to stop the Holocaust, so Hollywood canceled him, and the British canceled him, and everyone else. He spoke his mind. He didn't succeed in stopping the Holocaust, but think about it, that's why they canceled him. Anyway, Ben Hecht, who wrote Guide for the Bedeviled, 1943 and 1944. Again, that's in the canon. So, that's that. Please do leave your comments if you're interested, and feel free to ask your questions if there's something that you think will relate to what we're talking about. Not an external question, but with regards, if you know some things about these matters, or if you know nothing about it, feel free to ask, all right? But definitely comment on your identity, where you are, what language you speak, etc. Thanks. Have a great day.